Dear student, today we will learn about hydrosphere. Hydrosphere. What is hydrosphere? So hydrosphere, as the name suggests, it's all about water. So it includes all water on or near the earth's surface. Whatever the water is present, that is collectively called hydrosphere. This includes water in the ocean, lakes, rivers, wetlands, polar ice caps, soil, rock layers beneath Earth's surface, and clouds. As you saw, every opportunity we have picked wherever we can find water. We can find water from oceans, lakes, rivers, wetlands, polar ice caps, soil, rock layers beneath Earth's surface, and obviously clouds that causes rain as well. So 70% of Earth's surface is covered in water. So 97.2% of all the water on the earth is found in oceans. 97.2%. Due to salt content of ocean water, we are unable to use it. You know, ocean water is saltish. So salt water can be cleaned up by a process called desalination. Desalination is a process in which we extract soil from water. This leaves, if we do salination, so this leaves only 2.8% of the earth's water as fresh water, because 97.2% is saltish water. So whatever left as a fresh water is only 2.8%. So only 0.8% out of this 2.8%, only 0.8% water is drinkable. It is in a condition that we can use for drinking purpose. If we have a look on freshwater distribution, so 2.88% of freshwater distribution goes in this way: glaciers and ice caps 2.15%, groundwater 0.62%, and surface water only 0.03%. Remember 0.03%, it reminds me the composition of carbon dioxide in the atmosphere. In the atmosphere, although it's not relevant, but the percentage is same. In the atmosphere, we have carbon dioxide as 0.03%, and likely surface water is also present as in a percentage of 0.03%. Surface water distribution. So surface water, 0.03% of surface water is divided into, of course, lakes. So lakes gives us 0.017%. And soil, from soil we get 0.005%. And atmospheres provide us 0.001%. So atmospheric water means what? Water vapor in the air. And streams lastly 0.0001%, only 0.0001%. This is the distribution of surface water. Water cycle, this we did in everyday science in last semester as well. So it's very interesting for you, because at that time you learn it in detail. Water cycle. So water constantly moves among the oceans, the atmosphere, the solid earth, and the biosphere. We all know this. There is a continuity, there is a cycle that goes in water as well. So this unending circulation of Earth's water supply is termed as water cycle. If we look into the steps of the water cycle, how does the cycle goes? So first of all, you see, this is a sort of MCQ that I prepared for you. Dash the process in which water pools in large bodies. So what should be the answer? Accumulation, first process step in water cycle is accumulation, where the water pools in large bodies, water accumulated in large bodies. What do we mean by large bodies? It means oceans, seas and lakes. Then another process termed as condensation. Condensation is the process in which water vapor in the air turns into liquid water. So condensation can also be defined in other ways as well. You can also define condensation as a process by which water forms clouds in the sky. You can also say that condensation is the process by which water drops from the outside of a glass of icy water on a hot day. Then evaporation. It is a process in which liquid water becomes water vapor and it becomes a stream or gas. Water vaporizes from the surface of ocean and lakes, from the surface of the land and from mats in snowfields. Then precipitation. Precipitation is the process in which water in the form of rain, snow, sleet, or hail falls from clouds in the sky. After that, runoff. Runoff is the draining away of water or substances carried along with water from the surface of an area. If water carries some mineral salt or rocks, whatever, along with it, we call it runoff. Runoff of water, because water is flowing along with some other substances. Following runoff comes transpiration. Transpiration is the process in which some water within plants evaporates into the atmosphere. Water is first absorbed by the plant's roots, then later exits by evaporating through pores in the plant. You know the name of that pore also. Yes, you are right. It's stomata. See, it's a sketch of water cycle. Let's label it: condensation, transpiration, runoff, precipitation, accumulation, evaporation, and lastly condensation. Now, with this, the hydrological cycle is ended. Now, we will move to another cycle, and that cycle is called lithosphere. Lithosphere, one of the most interesting topic of the course, lithosphere. Lithosphere, what is lithosphere? Lithosphere, most of the lithosphere, it's a sphere. Lithosphere is a sphere. What sort of a sphere is that? This sort of sphere is made up of rocks and clays, which are made up of silicates and aluminosilicates. Silicates, that is commonly called as sand. Silicates is a scientific name where silica and oxygen combines. We name it silicates. Commonly you can say silicate is a sort of sand. Aluminosilicate, when aluminum combines with silicate, this silicate, then we call its aluminosilicates. So lithosphere is made up of rocks. Basically, it's rock cycle. When we talk about lithosphere, it means we are talking about nothing other than rocks. So it is made of rocks and clays, which are made up of silicates and aluminosilicates. Acha. There is a high energy bond exists between them. That's why they exist, weathering and persist in the environment. I told you that silicates is the combination of silica and oxygen. When silica combines with 3 atoms of oxygen, it forms silicate. So there is high energy bond, and these between silica and oxygen. That's why this high energy bond helps rocks to persist in the environment, and it also avoid weathering. Weathering is you may say, destruction of the rocks. Rocks once formed, you know that it goes for decays. It does, though the breakdown of the rocks do take place, but this breakdown is not very often. It takes a longer period of time. So, what makes it to resist in the environment? The high energy bond. If we see the types of rocks, they are not a single type of rocks in the on the earth. There are different types of rocks. So geologists divided rocks into three types. Only three types: igneous rocks. Another type is sedimentary rocks. Third type is metamorphic rocks. There are geologists, the scientists who study about the rocks, they have categorized rocks into three types. One is called igneous rocks, another sedimentary rocks, and lastly metamorphic rock. Now let's see what type of rocks are categorized as igneous rocks. So igneous rocks are made up from the cooled liquid magma. Magma, what is magma? When lava melts, it is called magma. So igneous rocks are made up from the cool liquid magma from beneath the earth's crust. So igneous rocks are again of two types. On we will see on the basis of their cooling time, they are categorized into two types. One type is called intrusive igneous rock, and the another type is called extrusive igneous rock. Acha. Now we will see what is intrusive igneous rocks. So intrusive igneous rocks are formed from magma. Magma, I repeat, magma is molten lava. Magma is molten lava. So intrusive igneous rocks are formed from magma that has cooled slowly beneath the surface of the earth. The cooling takes place in a slow pace. Because of the slow cooling, these rocks consist of large crystals. If we look at the example of intrusive igneous rock, so granite is the most common intrusive igneous rock. Granite is most common in our country. It has a large crystalline grain of mica, quartz, feldspar, and contains 73% of silicon dioxide by mass. As it is formed at the great depth, is only exposed where ancient earth movement have lifted the rocks. Thus, the granite is found in the highlands of Britain. We cannot see granite in our country. It is we can see it in highlands of Britain because of its formation nature. It cannot be seen everywhere. It can be seen only in ancient earth movement. See, it's a picture of granite. I use this picture just to develop your interest. Granite. There are some other picture of intrusive igneous rock. See among this pegmatite, granite, diorite, and gabbro. Now another type of igneous rock is categorized as extrusive igneous rocks. Extrusive igneous rocks have cooled rapidly on Earth's surface. There we saw in intrusive the case was opposite, just opposite. They cooled very slowly. Here the cooling takes place very rapidly on the surface of Earth, often from magma emitted from volcanoes, and they therefore consist of a small crystal. As the magma comes out, rapidly they cool down, and this cooling led them to made up of into turn off into small crystals. Basalt is a common explosive igneous rock and contains an average 52% silicon dioxide by mass. Another picture of explosive igneous rock: obsidian, pumic, rhyolite, scoria, basalt, andesite. You have to memorize at least three name of each rock. Igneous rock, three name at least you have to memorize, and likely exclusive rock, three name you must know that what sort of rocks are igneous rock and what are their examples. Now, after igneous rock, another rock is called sedimentary rock. Sedimentary rocks, it is the formation of sedimentary rocks start with the weathering of the rock by sun, wind, rain, frost, and chemical processes. The breakdown of the rocks start either with the weathering of other rocks by sun or by wind. If the wind blow heavily, it will roll the rock, and if the roll moves from high land and moves down to the land, obviously breakage will take place in the rock, and that geologists categorized as weathering. So weathering takes place either by sun, wind, rain, frost, and chemical processes. There are so many other chemical processes that causes the weathering of sedimentary rock. The rock up material is transported mainly by the water. If the rock has broken down into pieces or large pieces or small pieces, so that the transportation of those pieces will be taken up by water and deposited in rivers, lakes, and the sea in the form of loose sediments, because the rock is broken down now. The loose sediments settle out onto the riverbed or the seabed and are cemented together with mineral. Example of sedimentary rocks are oolitic, limestone, chalk, sandstone, conglomerate. See, sedimentary rocks: sandstone, limestone, shale, conglomerate, gypsum. I think every name is very easy. It's quite easy to memorize these names, and you people are quite smart. Another picture of sedimentary rocks: limestone, chalk, the same chalk that we use for our blackboard, sandstone. Now, after sedimentary rock, another type of rock, the last type of rock is called metamorphic rock. Metamorphic rock. It is deep within the earth. Heat and pressure alter a parent rock without melting it. Metamorphic rock formation takes place with the help of high heat and pressure. So it recrystallizes itself. See, the picture A. In picture A, the type of rock, when the pressure exert on this type of rock, it is transformed into different form of rock. You can see the texture of both the rock, although it's the same rock, but in picture A, the pressure was not exerted. When we exerted pressure on this rock, it is transformed into some other texture. You can see the microscopic structure is also illustrated so that you can understand in a easy way. So metamorphic rocks, we may say that it is caused by extreme pressure and heat. Happens over wide regions, mountain, building, plate tectonic forces. Molten rock, extremely hot, comes into contact with older surrounding rocks. See, one of the graphical picture, it's not the actual picture, it's the graphical picture that is developed to develop our understanding of formation of metamorphic rock. You see, the contraction takes place with the help of high pressure and heat, and then see what causes these high heat and pressure to formation of another sort of rock that is termed as metamorphic rock. If we see the texture of metamorphic rock, so it refers to the whether or not the component materials are arranged in any regular or irregular or repeated parallel pattern, because it is developed by the help of high heat and high pressure. So the texture is not confined. It depends on the component minerals and that how they are arranged with each other. Their regularity in the pattern of fixing and combining with each other, and their repeated parallel pattern. They may be foliated, repeated layer-like appearance due to parallel alignment of flat or long grains. One type of metamorphic rock is categorized as foliated. Foliated, why foliated? Because here we can see repeated layer-like appearance on the rock. Why this layer forms, the different sort of layers form in a single piece of rock due to parallel alignment of flat or long grains. Foliated is again categorized into two different categories. One is called mineral alignment and another is called banded. Bands are formed. In another foliated banded may be formed, bands are formed. And mineral alignment, parallel alignment of minerals are formed. And in banded, alternative between light and dark wavy strips. See, you can see dark and light strips are formed. Acha, banded. See, it's banded. Zebra strips. You can see this zebra strips. If we compare banding versus layers of foliation, so banding looks like in this form, while layers. See, we can differentiate this rock into different layers, but here we can differentiate this rock in the form of layers only. See, this is a piece of schist. One of the rock, metamorphic rock, it's called schist. See, you can see hole, it is formed, holy schist. Hole is formed, so people can name it as holy schist. Hole is formed, that's why. It's slaty foliation. Why slaty foliation everybody can understand, because slates are formed in this rock. See, different sort of slates combine together and form the foliation. The foliation is formed with the help of different slats. So this type of foliation is called slaty foliation. So rock is split into flat, thin layers. We can see that these rocks are not thin. These slats are very much thin. Non-foliated. After foliated, non-foliated. Here foliation does not take place. So it is composed of interconnected mineral crystals. Minerals are connected with each other, and they are distinguished by their mineral content, of course, because their texture is of mineral crystals, so they can only be categorized or differentiated as a as their according to their mineral content. If you see the example, quartzites and marble, the same marble that nowadays are very common in making our floor. So how do we know that it's a metamorphic rock? If it has foliation and it has banding. See, it's a rock cycle. Can you understand this cycle? If this cycle comes without labeling in the exam, can you label them? I think you can do it easily. See, it's a rock cycle. The title will give you the hint. Rock cycle. So see, igneous rock, of course, it would be downstream, then metamorphic rock, and then lastly the sediments. Heat and pressure. They see heat and pressure. Another, it's that was the pictorial diagram. It's a pictorial diagram, and this is the same cycle, but it's in with a you may call it in line diagram. We call it line diagram, where everything can be understood without the help of any picture. So see different types of rocks. What are they? Igneous rock, sediments rock, sedimentary rock, and the metamorphic rock. So igneous rocks with the help of weathering or erosion converts into sediments rock. With sediments rocks with the help of deposition and burial, what happens? They compact and they cement it, and then they form sediments, become sedimentary rock. And when the sedimentary rock absorb more heat and pressure from the earth, so it will transform into metamorphic rock. Once the metamorphic rock melts for any reason, yes, in so many reasons, we are not discussing the causes of this melting, but if the metamorphic rocks melt, so melting of lava is called magma. All right, magma. And if magma solidifies, if solidification takes place, it becomes again igneous rock. So you can see that they are interlinked with each other. That's why lithospheres is combinedly called as a rock cycle also. Question may comes instead of a lithocycle, they may use the paper pattern. People can use the word rock cycle instead of lithosphere. So I think it's clear. All right. Now we will see another cycle that is called biosphere. Biosphere is also, we have to see the biosphere as well. Biosphere, what do we mean when we say biosphere? Biosphere means bio means what? Bio means life. So biosphere is the life sphere where the life exists. Only in this sphere we will study only those atmosphere where only the life exists. Nothing else. Only the life. In biosphere, what we are supposed to learn, we will see the definition of the biosphere, how it originated, its origin, and the use of the term biosphere, where we use these words, where these words are applicable. And we will see the actual concept of biosphere and its physical properties and the factors that affect on biospheres. So let's see the definition of biosphere. So biosphere is the global sum of all ecosystem. Ecosystem, ecosystem we done in everyday science. Also ecosystem involves the whole environment, both external environment and the internal environment, both plant kingdom, both animal kingdom. Every life is categorized in an environment that we call collectively as ecosystem. So biosphere is the global sum of all ecosystem. It can also be termed the zone of life on Earth. Bio means life. So, of course, in other words, biosphere is the zone of life on Earth. Of course, it's a closed system. Apart from solar and cosmic radiation and heat from the interior of the Earth, we are excluding that. What we are excluding in the biosphere, we are excluding we are excluding solar and cosmic radiation and heat from the interior of the Earth, and large is self-regulating. The biosphere is self-regulating process. Acha. Biosphere's origin, how does it originated? Biosphere. So biosphere has a geological origin. It is an indication of the effect of both Charles Darwin and Matthew F. Morey on the earth sciences. You know Charles Darwin, one of the pioneer in evolution of human being or the animal. Biosphere's ecological context comes from 1920s, preceding the 1935 introduction of the term ecosystem by Sir Arthur. Sir Arthur in 1935 coined the word ecosystem. Then translate one day sky defined ecology as the science of the biosphere. Ecology is categorized by these scientists as the science of biosphere. So it is an interdisciplinary concept for integrating astronomy, geophysics, meteorology, biogeography, evolution, geology, geochemistry, hydrology, and generally speaking, all life and earth sciences. So these sentences are very much important because biosphere is interdisciplinary concept. It includes not a single science, it's the emerging science which includes all the sciences that deals with astronomy, geophysics, meteorology, biogeography, evolution, geology, geochemistry, hydrology. So overall, it's all about life on Earth. Now, if we see use of term biosphere, the term biosphere was coined by geologist Edward Swiss in 1875. 1875, first time the word biosphere was used by a geologist named Edward Swiss. So he defined biosphere the place on Earth's surface where life is. It means the wherever there is life, there is biosphere. See, can you see biosphere in this picture? Of course, it's very clear. Biosphere. We have hydrosphere, water cycle. This type of tricky diagram may come in exam where they after giving this providing you this picture, they ask you to label at least three sphere in this diagram. So see, you have to think very wisely, as you guys are already very smart and intelligent. I am sure if this type of question comes, so you people can do it very easily. Now see, if this type of diagram or any type of picture related like this picture comes, so you have to label it. See, wherever you see water, of course, it's none other than hydrosphere. Acha, lithosphere, rock, it's a rock. So of course, it would be lithosphere. Here you can see plants. Here houses. What houses shows? What is the symbol? Why this symbol is used? Why the homes are made over here? Houses are built over here? Because to show you houses means life. There are houses, there are life, and you can see if it's hydrosphere. So of course, hydrosphere cannot exist without life. You can observe seaweeds, different animals in the water, aquatic animals. So this type of picture may come in the exams. So in today's lesson, what is important for examination point of view? Lithosphere. In lithosphere, you have to You have to classify igneous rock into two types. You must know the definition of both type of igneous rock. What are their types? Intrusive igneous rock and extrusive igneous rock. Not only the name, but their definition and their relevant example. It is very much important. This type of question is very much important. I repeat, one of the most expected question is about the igneous rock. Igneous rocks, what do you mean by igneous rock? What are their types and examples? This is very expected question according to my point of view. When we talk about sedimentary rock, you must know what are sedimentary rock and how does it form. Then metamorphic rock. Metamorphic rock is important because in this rock, the important phenomena of heat and pressure takes place. So it's very important to know about the characteristic of metamorphic rock and their formation and their relevant example. So I hope in today's lecture that I tried my level best not to leave anything without I tried my level best to make everything clear. But if you think any problem, if you come across with any misunderstanding or shortfalls, you may contact me on my WhatsApp number. I will try to satisfy you. Okay, now thank you.